oh boy, that's what I'm talking about. Now, exploring the fullness of whom she is, who we are in her personal and collaborative projects, Thandi Ntuli negotiates a wide palette of sound and genre. In 2022, she released her offering Black Elijah and the Children of Meroë. The album is a story about the mystery of awakening, rebirth, or remembering. The pianist and composer Thandi Ntuli joins us now this morning to share more on her work. Thandi, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. It's good to see you. Good morning. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And it's been a while. So
it has been a while, right? How are you doing?
I'm good. I can't complain.
Great stuff.
Ups and downs, but I'm here. I'm alive. I'm healthy, which is good.
Well, I suppose that's life. And
yes.
If there's no ups and downs in life, someone says, if there's no ups and downs in life, then it means you're dead.
Exactly.
So there has to be those ups and downs.
Exactly.
All right, let's talk about your baby, Black Elijah. Mm-hmm. So how did that one come about? What is the inspiration behind that?
So Black Elijah is a pandemic baby. I know lots of people had pandemic babies, and she's one of them. It's an album that really, I had been thinking about this character, Black Elijah, that was inspired by Black Moses from the Soul Brothers, playing synths. And I always wondered, why would you call yourself Black Moses? But, you know, I thought it was a cool vibe anyway that he calls himself that, and he plays amazing organ. Yeah. And I thought one day I'm going to create my own character, Black Elijah. So Black Elijah initially was born from there. And then moving forward, it just became a character that I imagined as this mother, like this divine mother or something who kind of helps you to grow and helps you to become better, helps you to heal. Yes, and so the relationship with Black Elijah and the Children of Meroë is basically this presence that is inspiring her children to do the work of healing, of, you know, dealing with the stuff that they carry in their day-to-day lives but don't necessarily think is important to face. So it's an exploration of joy. It sounds like a long thing, but I really, after my Exiled album, I really wanted to focus on what comes after the sense of exile, which is, I think, if you do the work of healing, you will experience joy. Yes, that's my imagination, at least.
And I suppose the theme of healing, as you put it, is quite intertwined with the gist of the story of this album, which is all about awakening and rebirth. So how do those themes then find expression in this work?
So the theme of awakening, I think in the first song is Bongo, which is like Ibongo Zasekaya. Yes. And I think I found so much healing in that because there's so much history that we actually don't know about ourselves, that we miss. We go to school, we're educated in a Western system, even if we're in Africa. We live our lives with the paradigm of a Western outlook. And for me, just going back to my heritage, I mean, a lot of it has been wiped out, but things like Ibong or things like our music are places where you can find some of those stories and that history. So for me, that theme was there definitely in just going back to look for the things that we still do have as Africans, post-colonial, post-apartheid, and everything that we've experienced. Look for those things that still give us a sense of who we are and embrace them.
And, you know, when you speak of healing, I suppose then it triggers one to self-reflect and self-introspect just by listening to this album.
Yes.
And I mean, it begs the question, do you think that with the ills that are going on in this world are a result of people not having healed? They haven't healed, hence people are doing whatever they're doing to the detriment of so many other people.
Absolutely. I mean, I've read in this book by a yoga master, BKS Yang, and he said that healing is whatever integrates heals, and whatever separates causes injury. So in my sense, I think most of us are not integrated in terms of our psychology. The dark parts of ourselves are not integrated with the light parts, and by dark parts I mean the things that we don't show to the world. We don't have a sense of acceptance for the most part. I'm saying we because I think this is what I observe in people and myself. We don't generally embrace both aspects of ourselves, and in that sense we also don't embrace our history. I think there's a lot of washing over of what we've experienced and not really embracing what it's done to us. Not to say that we must dwell there, but I think it really is important to be honest about it. Because, I mean, even now, for example, before we got on air, you were asking me about how things are, the gigs and everything. And there is this sense of washing over that I pick up, because a lot of people have experienced a lot during the pandemic. Some people have had whole families wiped out from the pandemic, and there's a lot of trauma that we've experienced, loss of jobs, loss of so many things, but it's just like everything's gone back to normal. And and I think this is a habit that we have as human beings that is detrimental for us in the long run, because it comes back unless you deal with the stuff that you face. It comes back.
And in as much as the consumption of this work can be, I would say, individualized, everybody may consume it differently to whatever tastes or palates that they may prefer. So, having said that, who do you think that this work is created for, or is aimed at, or is targeted at?
It's always for myself first, because I always use myself as I think if you look at yourself, you'll understand so much about other people in the world. So it comes from me, but it also is for anyone who's ready for it, because I know that it's not an easy thing to talk about. It's like, hey, deal with your trauma. Not everyone is like, sure, yeah, let me deal with my trauma. That's a good idea. But there are people who have gone to a place where they feel like everything is not working. What haven't I tried? And I think looking inward is a place that people who are at that place can go to.
Now, Thandi, remember when you released your second album, Exile, back in 2018, if I'm not mistaken? Yeah. How do you remember you mentioned that struggling with pinning down the meanings of the songs? So, how do you navigate through this time around?
So I've grown a lot, and I think I really enjoyed the solitude that the pandemic afforded me, because I got to understand myself as well as an artist. And what I realized with Exile is that the reason I couldn't explain a lot of the songs, because I almost feel like the songs come to me and they have lessons for me. So in hindsight, I learned so much about what the album was about. And it actually forced me to do some kind of introspective work myself. So I think it's the same with now. I've come to a place where I accept the fact that I don't always understand where the songs come from. But I'm willing to kind of have a sense or share the sense that I have that this is about this, but I could find out more about that at a later stage.
I mean, that's very interesting, because, you know, it's there's absolutely no problem with learning from what people learned from your own journey, from your own musical journey. So, yeah, it really is interesting. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Good stuff. All right, we just spoke to pianist and composer Thandi Ntuli on her latest offering. She'll be performing for us shortly, so stay tuned to Morning Live for that.